Welcome back. Guys, it's summer.
Ah, nice. Get some sun. Maybe go to the beach.
Yep.
The beach?
Yeah, there's no beach around here. We'd
No.
have to go all the way
Nope.
down to like
No, you
Galveston,
sit
I think.
inside and you're 74,
Yep.
maybe lower,
Yep.
and you play your Nintendo Switch,
Now you're talking.
and you cry.
We went to Hurricane Harbor once. That was nice.
It's true.
I mean, it was full of people, and you know what I think about people. So
Right. Kill them all.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah. No
That's right.
exceptions. You?
No.
You sitting there at home, you think you're going to get spared when the day comes? Uh-uh. You're going first. But summer means it's also a new anime season.
Ah!
Yeah.
And it looks very good.
Oh, boy.
How much we love these Chinese cartoons.
So we all watched a bunch of trailers last week. We each picked 7 shows from the new season to watch the first episode of. And now we're going to share what we've experienced, what we've endured with you people at home, so that as soon as this is done, we're going to put that poll up. We've got 21 shows, 7 apiece. You're going to help us narrow it down to 10. And that's going to be... It's going to be what we do.
That's going to be a feat. That's going to be a miracle is what it is.
Yeah.
So are we gonna go like you, me, him? You,
Yeah, I
me,
think
him?
that works.
Okay.
We've also got a concept of locks here.
Oh right, we do have locks. I completely forgot about
Yeah,
that.
we've got locks. So we've got some envelopes here.
We're doing this. Are we doing this at the end? We're doing it now.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can do this at the end.
Okay, cool. Because I want to hear what people say about things first.
Yeah. But
All right.
we'll have those on hand. And yeah, I'll go ahead and start us off. Guys, I watched the first episode of Angels of Death.
What is that about?
In episode 1, a young girl named Rachel wakes up in a strange building where she's chased around by murderers. That's kind of it.
How did you feel about this show, Ben?
In a different season, this might be one of the weakest shows on the list. This
Wow.
season, this might be one of the strongest shows on the list.
Oh no.
So here's the thing about this show. If it's planning on having a story, a plot, anything like that, it's not leading with that. What it does have is it has atmosphere. It's very surreal, very dream logic. The girl has amnesia, I guess.
Sure.
Some of the character designs are pretty all right. It's very creepy. It reminds me of... It takes place in this abandoned complex. I guess every level has a murderer on it.
Oh, fun video game shit.
Yeah, I was about to say, it reminds me of certain parts of Arkham Asylum.
Sure.
Or specifically Arkham City, the second game in that series, where you go underground to old Gotham, and it's all like fucked up and abandoned, and it's like this underground city that's just been paved over for the new city. Feels a lot like that, or certain parts of BioShock, only, without a good story to it. Yet, I don't know. I like the cinematography. One of the first murderer she encounters is this guy with a scythe and like a mummified face. Looks like a young guy, like kind of a skinny build. And it does this interesting thing where it's actually subtle, I think, but I noticed it, where it'll show a camera shot from her perspective as she's like cowering in a corner or whatever, which has the effect of putting the camera directly at this dude's crotch level, which,
Sure.
without him actually making an explicit sexual threat, builds him up as a sexual danger, which is at least a little bit of extra like visual storytelling, somewhat more subtle than I've come to expect from this garbage. I don't know.
Okay.
It's all right. It looks pretty good, but it's also probably it gives me the impression of style over substance. But at least it's got style, which is more than I can say for a lot of the shit on this list.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Scott, what'd you watch?
Do you have the list of everything that we watched?
I do, so I can
Okay,
just.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
wouldn't mind.
let me get mine out so I can.
Yeah, I should probably have
have
the
a-
list out.
Yeah, Scott, the first thing on your list, if we're just going in alphabetical order, which is what I'm doing, because that's the order I've got my notes in.
Then I have to start with banana fish, don't I?
No.
Oh, wait, Angolmois.
Angolmois, record of Mongol invasion.
This is the one that looked interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Angolmois, Legend of Mongol Invasion, is about a bunch of what do you call them? Exiles, basically being taken to Tsushima Island. It's basically a prison island, and when they on their way there, though, they encounter a terrible typhoon, during which the prisoners beg to be released so they don't drown if they fall overboard. Yeah, they immediately murder everyone on board, except for Ronin Yamcha, who decides that he wants to take one of the swords and then murder all of the murderers so they get there safely. And once they arrive, they're greeted by women and food and a feast. And then are told that they're going to be fighting against the Mongol invasion against their will, because they're exiles, they're prisoners, they're not free men. They initially refuse, but when the Mongols actually start to invade and steal the princess of the island, they end up having to fight back. And Ronin Yamcha, who is essentially our main character, and I'm calling him that because I think his name is Kuchi, and I'm not calling him Kuchi. I'm just going to call him Ronin Yamcha.
Okay.
He looks exactly like Ronin Yamcha, trust me.
Sure. Okay.
He decides that he's going to use his special, super awesome style to fight against these Mongols. But then he finds out that one of the Mongols also uses the same style, and he's got blonde hair and is super anime and can apparently jump like 30 feet. It's nuts. And at the end, the princess thanks them, but says, you have to fight. We're going to drive these Mongols back, even though she's quaking in her boots this entire time. It's a great character dynamic of a woman who's strong in the face of strangers, but when she's behind doors, she breaks down. It's very realistic. And yeah, that's basically the first episode. We're introduced to, there's a Mongol invasion. These exiles will have to fight them. There's a princess who's leading them, and also it's got some really pretty looking fight scenes. It also has this really, really distracting filter over the entire show. They wanted to use. So remember the filter that we saw? Yeah, that's
on everything?
It's
Okay.
on everything, and
Gotcha.
it bugs the hell out of me because there's actually some really fine line work in this show. The character designs are kind of a B+, A- in most of the time, distinct and expressive, and I dig on that. But when you have this filter over everything, it's kind of difficult to tell what it's difficult to see, and I don't like that, especially in low lights. But that being said, it's kind of got this problem of it's very shallow. It's a very simple concept, and these characters are not exceptionally interesting, except for the princess. She's the one very multi-dimensional character. Otherwise, you have this old man who was a merchant, who was one of the richest people in, I want to say Hokkaido, but I'm probably wrong. But then he committed a crime, so he's exiled. There's a kid there who's exiled for some reason. There's this big tough guy with shark teeth who also gets exiled, and he's obviously kind of like a bad dude, But he's sticking around with Ronin Yamcha because I think he sees a friendship there. And Ronin Yamcha was apparently a general in the army, but he got kicked out for something he doesn't want to talk about. Apparently, it was so heinous. And, I have to say, if this is one of the shows that I end up watching for the season, I'd be cool with that. I want to see where this goes. It's a little bit shallow, but it's got the possibility of being one of those shows that makes it to the end if it can just continue growing its characters and give me some good action scenes. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd say it's got the potential Gato had, but it also has the potential Gato had.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Kieran, what did you think about Asobe Asobase Workshop of Fun?
Okay, so everything I watched was very strange, which is good. That's what I like. I'm not here to watch the vanilla shit. I'm here to watch everything crazy.
We need crazy this season, I think.
And this. Okay, so Asobe Asobase, I got impressions from the trailer that were pretty much fulfilled. It is in this first episode, it's 4 vignettes basically. It's 4 shorts, and the whole premise and seemingly the whole construct of the show is these girls. There's this American girl who was born in Japan and can't speak English. And then there's this one girl who's a nerd and she hates fun. That is her thing. She hates fun. That's it. And there's this other girl there. She's there. And then it's about them just doing kooky stuff before, after, during. No one else is ever in the classroom, it seems. So at some point when the classroom is vacant, they are there in a classroom doing things like challenging each other to rock, paper, scissors and then slapping them. And it's just a lot of a bunch of just rapid fire shorts. Comedy's okay, but it's really the expressions that kind of sold it a lot. Yeah. It's not bad. Like, I wouldn't call it bad, but it's like, It's a strong
Welcome to summer 2018.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's just like, okay, so you're the American, right? And you have to teach me. We play this game of rock, paper, scissors, and then you look that way, and I try to slap you in the face, but I actually slap you in the boobies. Oh no! Now you have to teach me English, and I'll teach you about Japanese pastimes. That's a whole conceit of the show is them learning about Japanese pastimes, and they make a club about it. And so every little vignette is about different little games and things that they do. So it's got cool cultural stuff there, but it's not bad. I wish it was more than it is, because it seems very limited from what I saw. I hope if this makes it on the list, which I'm not against, I wouldn't die watching another one, but it's just it's okay. It's fine.
Well, I watched Cells at Work.
Oh, Osmosis Jones 2.
Yes. In episode 1, Osmosis Jones happens. That's my plot synopsis. I actually have not seen the movie Osmosis Jones.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Yeah, I hear good things.
It's interesting. I can't necessarily recommend it.
Oh,
but
yes, you can.
It's cool.
can.
I mean, it's definitely very
It's a
interesting.
feat of
movie.
cinema.
It's just a little gross for my taste.
Yeah.
So, in this world, inside... You know what? I've been presuming a human body, but I could be wrong about that. It could be anything.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, maybe that's the big final twist, is that they're not inside a human at all. Anyway, our two main characters are a red blood cell and a white blood cell.
Nice.
Who, the red blood cell finds herself under attack by these germs. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's the kind that causes pneumonia, among other things.
Oh.
I really like the character designs on everybody, but the germs specifically. They look like freaky deaky aliens.
I like it.
They look like freaky alien genotypes. They're good.
Nice.
And they team up to fight the evil germs that are trying to kill the organism that they're charged with being a part of. There are also killer T cells that are like the FBI CIA rivalry, like the white blood cells and the killer T cells don't really get along. Like, oh no, this is my jurisdiction.
Okay.
The red blood cells are like the hardworking. She's like a package delivery person. She's running around with this cardboard box full of oxygen that she has to go deliver. It's all really cute. It's adorable. It makes me wish I knew more cellular biology, because it's dropping all kinds of knowledge, all kinds of science that is interesting, and I have no idea how accurate any of it is. But the designs are cool. The performances are cool. The conceit is cool. I enjoyed this a lot.
It sounds like a goofy extended metaphor. That's it.
Yeah. I wish I were more familiar, and that's why I wish I were more familiar with the thing that it's a metaphor for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that's very silly when you think too hard about it. Like, white blood cell boy runs around dual-wielding knives and slicing up these germs who then bleed on him.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, so germs have blood, but you are blood. Yo, dog, I heard you like blood, so I put blood in your blood so you can bleed while you bleed. But that's kind of part of the fun.
Yeah.
This might be the highlight of the list, as far as, or of my 7, I should say.
That makes me
Nice.
happy. I was hoping that was good.
Let's see what Scott's got next. Speaking of things I hope are good, Banana Fish.
Yeah, speaking of highlights of the list.
Okay.
So Banana Fish is set in New York, and, the opening is actually set in Iraq. It's a
okay.
couple of U.S. soldiers sitting around, singing some songs, and they start having a small conversation while one of the soldiers is obviously looking a little bit out of his head. He walks off without anybody noticing, grabs a couple of guns, and then starts opening fire on his squadron. They ended up taking him down. They almost kill him, but then they realize there's something wrong with him. He didn't attack them of his own volition. He's zoned out. We then have a flash forward to 1980s New York, and as we see, there's crime, there's gangs, and one of the gangs is, oh God, how do I put this? So there's a young man named Ash. He's blonde, he's pretty as hell, and he's also basically one of the main lieutenants of a local mob boss, and he's all about no killing. He wants to make sure that they rule the streets without having to kill anybody unnecessarily, especially innocent people. And when he finds a couple of his soldiers running down a man who they've already fatally wounded, he leans down to the man asking who did this, only to find his soldiers close behind. The man hands him off an item, which it's hard to see what he hands him, and says, "banana fish." He then dies, and he asks his soldiers, "What the hell are you doing?" Is like, we can't tell you. So he's like, "Fine, here's the police." Tells them to run off. He goes to his boss, and he's like, "What did you do? Why did you do this? Why are we killing people?" And of course, the boss is like giving them a runaround. It's like, "You don't need to know. I'll tell you when you need to know." There's also the other lieutenant who's apparently very gay. They keep saying it. He's gay, but he also looks like this big fat pig dude, which is giving me a little bit of a gay panic vibe. I won't lie, especially since it's implied that this dude wants to fuck Ash, and I'm not sure exactly. I believe he uses a derogatory term for gay people when he talks about the guy, but he calls him a fag, and I'm a little uncomfortable about that. But at the same time, 1980s America, I'll allow for this. But there's, how do I put this? So the main conceit of the plot is Ash has stolen something that he's not supposed to have, and apparently it belongs to his mob boss, and it's a little vial full of a drug. Meanwhile, switching gears, we also have the police force, who has brought in a couple of Japanese journalists. It's a young man. The story structure of this is a little awkward, and I didn't have a lot of time to write down notes. I saw this all on Saturday night, and you find out these two journalists want to do an expose about this gang. To which, Ash is like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it. I'll have your interviews. I'll do this." In the middle of the interview, however, there's a gang fight. And as we soon find out, it's actually the lieutenant who really hates Ash, along with another soldier who ends up trying to murder him because they want him out of the picture. And throughout all of this, we find out that Ash has a brother who's looking after, who is the guy who opened fire on the dudes in the first act. So I know I'm bad at breaking these down, but there's a lot of things that happen in this.
So you did, in fact, make your name on the internet by abridging things, is my understanding.
Yes.
Is that correct? Just making sure I'm clear on...
There's a lot of plot details here, and they all kind of coalesce, and the journalists get stolen, or kidnapped, that is. And so that's where the episode ends, and it's... So this is one of the interesting ones where it's visually very appealing. The first vibe that I got was a little bit of Gatto's idea of New York, but the backgrounds are immaculate. The character designs are all very distinct. The animation and the art is very good. And this being an adaptation of a manga from the 80s, actually, they update a lot of the designs, especially the main character, Ash himself. And its update actually reminds me a lot of the Parasite anime in terms of trying to give it a more contemporary style. And the music is fantastic. Again, the art and animation is fantastic. But I will say this: it's got the potential to be very engaging, but it's also very much a Japanese look at, how do American gang politics work? And I'm kind of sitting there like, yeah, you've modeled this more after your average Yakuza than you have like an American gang setup. But, it's okay. You still have these very interesting characters. Ash himself has got a lot of depth, and he's very cool, but hot-headed. Reminds me a lot, actually, of Cross-Dressing Assassin from...
Okay.
And that's good, because that was my favorite character from that show. They just cut the cross-dressing angle and made him more morally culpable, and I like that. He's also got some friends that we don't get to know a lot about, but I'm only supposing they'll play more as we go on. And we also have one of the best kid characters ever called Skipper. He's this little black kid who's basically like the information guy for Ash, and he's awesome. He ends up like smashing a bottle over some guy and kicks him in the face, and it's so good. So I can definitely say the first episode did not wow me, but it also shows like maybe the most potential out of anything I watched, with the exception of another show that we'll be talking about on my list. So yeah, I really hope this is one of the ones we end up watching, because it's oozes style and it's aesthetically like top notch. So,
Kieran, moving on, let's hear what you have to say about Chio's School Road.
Sentence 1. This show looks fantastic and has a great sense of comedy and timing and an engaging idea and execution. Sentence 2. I wish there weren't panty shots every 2 minutes, because you're supposed to be cheering for this girl, and she's really cool. She's a really good character, and it is almost immediately underlined by cameras and just the way angles are in unsexy situations. It's just there because. Sentence 3. I'm sad. I wanted this to be much more fun with its ideas than I think it ended up being. Why?
That's sad. Because that trailer had me vastly interested.
It's so fun when it's fun. It's so bad when it's bad. Oh. The highs are really high. The lows are very low. And they're almost always undercut just because they're she's jumping over something to get a panty shot, but she does all these really fun things. She was playing Assassin's Creed till 5 a.m, so now she has to get to school and runs like an assassin. But every time she jumps, there's a panty shot, and every time she does anything, there's look at the boobs.
There's a few like that on my list.
There's a lot like that on my list.
Yeah. Although most of them without any redeeming quality that makes me sad that they're doing that, because that's all it is.
It's fine. I think it's ultimately okay. I wouldn't be offended watching more, but I wish it wasn't the way it's presented.
Awesome. I think I got the most boobless
I've got plenty.
Shows.
Do you want some? I know you don't, but I've got at least a couple handfuls over here.
Well, I've obviously got room for some boobs.
I know.
So.
Speaking of boobs, let's talk about, is it Hanebado? Hanebado? Sounds about right.
Honey butt.
Yep. In episode 1. So I do plot synopses, usually more detailed than this. That's optional, as evidenced by the fact that I'm the only one who does them. I do them out of habit at this point. In episode 1, approximately 50,000 people play badminton, except when they play tennis. Except when they don't do either, because sports are stupid. This is the badminton one, the trailer had.
Oh, yeah.
The really pretty looking one.
With the boobies going like this.
Yep. Yeah, there's a whole lot of that.
Okay.
Which is weird, because this is the one where that feels out of place. They do it a lot, and it's...
Oh, no, that was Chio's School Road. That was the whole thing?
Yeah. There are others on this list where that's front and center, that's what you're here for. Mm-hmm. This one appears to be trying to tell a story, it appears to be failing very hard at it, or at least at making me care. This, remember Just Because?
Yeah.
This feels like Just Because Badminton Edition.
No.
Yeah. It's, except Just Because had a very cool, memorable, beautiful soundtrack. This doesn't really have
Yeah.
that. What this does have that Just Because doesn't have is two characters that actually I could pick out of a lineup, which are, I'm guessing she's supposed to be the main character, short-haired girl. She's the one with the blub, 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 blub,
Okay.
blub, blub. She's very bitter and angry because she lost what I'm guessing was an important badminton match. And so she's the captain of her badminton team, and she's riding the rest of the team real hard, and she's losing a lot of players because of it, because nobody's having any fun. And then there's this other girl who she lost to, who is also very disillusioned with badminton for reasons we're unclear of, but the coach of the team is trying to get her to join the team, and they're like the rivals who hate each other, who might have to work together. And she says, sports are stupid, and we pay too much attention to sports, and I'm just not interested in sports anymore. And I'm right there with her. And then there's, 4,998 other characters who I couldn't, who are like put front and center as though you're supposed to care about them. And boy, I don't. I don't know what they want. I don't know who they are. And it's all very boring, and I was nodding off the whole time. This is, like, presentation-wise, it is very pretty. Like, it has more going for it than a lot of other shows on this list. But I could stay awake better
Sure.
with a lot of the other stuff on this list. I hope this doesn't make it. It's not good. It's not entertaining. I'm bored, and I want it gone.
Good.
Let's see what's...
I mean, not good.
Yeah.
No, anything that cuts this list down makes me happy.
Well, maybe.
Well, this list is going to get cut down to 10 no matter what makes it and what doesn't.
No.
And then we can talk about cutting some more in the future weeks. But in the meantime, Scott, how was Dropkick on my devil?
So we all saw the trailer where she summons a demon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Looked very Bible Black. This was
that
this was the one that was
show.
like bait and switchy, right?
Yeah.
The trailer was.
And very, very intentionally, because the show is totally a comedy, 100%.
Okay.
And the idea, the entire conceit of the show is she summons a demon who then becomes basically her servant. But now the demon wants to kill this witch so she can finally be rid of her and go off and do whatever a devil does, which ostensibly is evil things. I say ostensibly because there are two other devils that live with her, Medusa and a cow demon. And
Okay, a bovinarium.
Yeah.
And so they all live together. And the entire story is just every episode or every skit, really, because it's a collection of skits. She tries to kill the sorceress or witch or whatever.
Okay.
And there's an angel living there. I can't remember if she's a fallen angel or an angel who's on Earth trying to get back up to heaven, something or other. And she's super meek and sunken eyes because she's sad and hungry all of the time because, again, kicked out of heaven, starving, basically homeless angel. Homeless angel.
All right.
This show is incredibly violent for the sake of comedy because it's all about the snake girl trying to murder her master and then, in the end, getting murdered herself. But since she's a devil, she can regenerate. Plays up the yucks of different violent ways to murder this snake woman. And in the meantime, is all about very mean-spirited jokes at the expense of the meeker characters. I don't dig on that. I have no interest in this show that otherwise is actually visually very well done in terms of its comedy. It definitely hits all of the notes with its character designs, its line work, its colors. They all look very visually appealing, but when the jokes are supposed to hit, all I can do is either like grimace or groan because I'm not here to watch characters get tortured, especially these cute little girls, which in a better told story or better told setup, a bunch of moe girls getting tortured could be really funny if you didn't lean into it so heavy. But here it's just, again, I don't know.
Did you ever see, what was it called?
Dokuro-chan?
I was just going to say Dokuro-chan.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw a bit of Dokuro-chan, and I remember back when I was a kid, and I thought violence was super funny.
Yeah, like ha ha ha, Happy
Yeah.
Tree Friends level.
Yeah,
insanity.
that's kind of the edge that it's trying to give it here.
Gotcha.
Cute characters getting murdered.
Okay.
But honestly, it's only ever the one character who, in turn, the idea is karmic balance. She causes trouble for all the other ones and is trying to murder somebody. So the karmic balance is, nope, she ends up getting murdered every time.
Gotcha.
And that, again, it's a premise that very quickly ran itself dry, if I had to be honest with you. Also, it's got this meta commentary that they know they're in a show. Like in one of the skits, like I believe in fact after the second skit, she ends up chopping her into meat, which they then eat, which is a running joke of the show.
Okay.
There's this actually kind of clever joke where she's so mangled, she's covered in sensors, and the sorceress is like, "You're all pixely. Yeah, we can't show this. It's gonna be a while till I've regenerated, so you just go on out." And you see blood spraying out. But then after she leaves, she takes down the sensor and she's actually fine. She's just got a little bit of blood on her head and she's been spitting out tomato juice, trying to be like, ha ha ha. Now that she thinks I'm too damaged to murder her when she gets back, I'll have this whole elaborate thing set up. And I'm like, okay, that's a good joke. I liked that. That's like one of the few jokes where I'm like, you thought that out. You're playing with your medium. That's good. But all the other jokes are, again, just the same play on this character is shitty to everybody else and then gets murdered at the end. And again, it's really mean-spirited. Like, I cannot stress how it just kind of like, I don't know. Also, Medusa is, I'm so innocent and sweet, and I can't stand it. Like, she's supposed to be played 100% straight, and I can't dig on that.
Well, let's move on to something we weren't sure whether it would get an episode released in time. You watched it just this morning, Grand Blue.
That's right. Yeah, and you were there for I think a good chunk of it.
Yeah,
did you see the whole thing?
Yeah, I basically saw the whole episode.
So we watched this just before this, and I expected from watching the trailer that we saw, I expected Cromartie High School in Diving Club, and it's not that extreme, but there is that level of visual insanity with this. Every time anything crazy happens or any character is yelling, they're animated or their art style changes to be really thick, bold lines. Their mouths are huge. Their eyes are all white, and everyone just screaming at the top of their lungs. Essentially what this is a kid who's going to college, and his uncle owns a diving club, which is essentially a frat house. And so all these dudes just hang out there. First time he gets in there, he opens the doors, dicks flopping everywhere, just people fighting, everyone's drunk as shit. And he's like, closes the door. Opening plays, opens it back up. It's still there. He's like, okay, fine, here we go. And then he runs out and then gets chased by the naked men and brought back and coerced into joining the diving club. And this has a lot of really, really fun deliveries and visual jokes. The censor bar dangling and moving as his penis would. Pretty good.
It's also a censor circle, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's a circle that you'd see, like, so you can see his full ass cheeks, but you can tell there's like a censor bar covering up something from the front, so you see the tiny bottom of the circle between his legs.
I do love it when he's got his legs spread from behind. You can see it there.
Yeah, they gotta drop it far enough to get all his package. And so it's like a lot of dicks, a lot of yelling, a lot of drinking, and I say frat house with the expectation that you get drunk. You have to have an initiation, and then he has to recruit someone else from college. It's like, now you're the bitch. And it's just this whole just raucous group of dudes doing a bunch of crazy shit. He ends up going to class the first day in just his underwear because they partied and ended up in front of the school. Hey, now you're not late. So it's a lot of fun stuff. It was really goofy. I did like most of it. The only weird thing is it has this seemingly romantic thing going on with him and his cousin, and the cousin is in love with her sister. But he seems to like the cousin, but she likes her sister, and Oh, and also his friend who like walks around with like this lolly girl shirt. He's like really sad that there aren't more high school girls in college for him to hit on. So aside from all that, It's actually really funny. I laughed out loud more times than I expected to, and not Hinamatsuri level of laugh out loud stuff, but definitely there was some stuff that caught me off guard, and the animation and art really does sell a lot of the deliveries with this in a way that I particularly like. I think if you scream something loud enough with conviction, it can be really funny. Doesn't matter what it is.
I like the fact that whenever anybody gets angry, they look like Titans from Attack on Titan. I can dig on that.
Yeah, everyone just looks insane.
I'm going to throw out there that it gives off super strong Konosuba vibes.
Yeah, he mentioned Konosuba. I haven't seen it, but
I need to see Konosuba too.
It's amazing.
I know Gon likes it, and that's if he likes a comedy,
then,
that's
then,
usually
yeah,
a
that
good
usually
sign for me.
stands out. But it's interesting. It's one that I would any little gripes aside, I would probably on my own, even if it doesn't make the list, watch the next episode.
Seeing as I saw it with you, is it okay if I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm hoping that it doesn't drag or it doesn't drive some of its jokes into the ground, because even after that first episode, I'm like, okay, I get it. They go around naked and they drink a lot. I really hope that they can vary up the jokes, because I like how it sells a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it is kind of self-aware about how some of the stuff is kind of creepy and weird.
Yes.
But yeah, they need to. I hope they get more clever after this first episode.
The bit with him running around from the cops was. I audibly laughed with him running from the cops, and a very clever cut use of audio, just hearing the police sirens. Yeah, you know exactly what's happening. A lot of really fun play with just with the anime medium.
Timing is one of those things that anime struggles to get
Oh,
sometimes.
I know, and just seeing it done again after Hinamatsuri, I'm like, yes, a show that gets it, or at least gets it for my dumb gaijin brain. So, I liked it.
Well, that sounds much more promising than, for example, Harukana Receive, which I watched. That was the other sports fan service anime, this one about volleyball. In episode 1, Tall Girl moves to Okinawa with her cousin Small Girl. They run into other Tall Girl and other Small Girl at the beach and challenge them to volleyball. They lose, but agree to a rematch in a week. That's the entire episode. I could not tell these two pairs of characters apart, except that they were wearing different swimsuits.
That's good.
So Hanebado was trying to be a serious high school drama about badminton with some fan service in it. This is fan service, front and center. Every other shot, would you like some jiggling tits or ass in your face? Because that's what you're going to get.
Yes, please.
It's awful, and I hate it. I guess the two small girls have some sort of history. It's mirroring the same basic plot from the badminton one. They used to be partners, I guess, and then one of them left, and the other one's mad. So I guess it's bad. I don't understand. If you want hentai, there is so much hentai out there. There is so much actual porn out there. Why do you need... You could go and play some DOA beach volleyball right now, or watch a playthrough on YouTube.
In VR now, too.
Yeah, and not have this story crammed into the middle of it.
See, if you're not Keijo, get out.
Yeah.
If you can't pull off the shonen spirit, don't make a sports anime. Like, then again, I guess some people, it's kind of like how some people find a little bit of clothing sexier than no clothing.
Dude.
They like the teasing of it.
That's right.
But
It's not like it's teasing. The tits are everywhere, though. It's and it's just, it's so saccharine. It's bright and cheery and makes me want to puke.
That's not what life ever is.
No. It's these two shows that I watched back to back, the badminton one and the volleyball one, are such a weird, like, mirror of each other. Two sides of the same coin, both of them shitty. Both of them like that gross coin that you pick up out of the gutter that has it's greasy and has hair on it.
Yeah.
Can we not?
And if you think it might be a quarter, could be a nickel with a bunch of shit on it.
Yeah. This coin's probably been up some animal's ass.
Can we please talk about anything else now?
Please don't vote for either of these. Look, I know the pickings are slim, but there's better than this. Let's see what Scott had next. Scott, you had Holmes of Kyoto.
Detective Holmes. I got that impression.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
We're talking about Sherlock Holmes in Kyoto.
Okay, so there's a girl who's named Aoi, and she moves to Kyoto. And then there's a dude who helps with an antique shop. And apparently he's really good at spotting fraudulent antiques. And when she comes in, he dresses her down and is immediately able to tell everything about her because
Fun.
he's Sherlock Holmes and he uses inductive reasoning, not deductive. That's wrong. It's inductive.
It is inductive.
And he figures out that she had some great antiques from her grandpa who died. And she wants to sell them so she can buy a train ticket back to Kyoto to bitch out her ex-boyfriend who broke up with her and then got with her best friend because she moved to Kyoto. And guess what? Long-distance relationships are bad. That's the show.
Well, that doesn't sound great.
It's not. It's super duper boring. And I kind of was hoping that I would get something along the lines of, oh God, there was an anime that it was giving me kind of signs of, man, I don't know. It's boring. Like the Holmes character is super generic looking and sounding and acting. And he's got one quirk about him besides the fact that he's really good at inductive reasoning that makes him interesting. And then they have this like kind of weirdly dark underplot about a local fraudulent like counterfeiting group, and no, it's boring.
You loved it.
This is a boring show.
loved it.
It's a boring show that looks kind of visually appealing. They're very good at their camera angles and using bokeh, but otherwise I don't want to watch the second episode of this.
Did you get to see Sherlock's butt?
No.
Oh,
No,
it's-
well,
It's-
just cross
it's
it off the
it's
list.
actually incredibly like
tame.
wholesome in that
Okay.
regard. There's no fan service at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's trying to be. You know what? I thought I was gonna get Yotsuhiro Biori vibes, that other show that from last
okay,
season.
yeah.
Yeah, no, not even close to as interesting or as funny or as visually appealing or as clever or as wholesome or as anything. It's just so boring, and I can tell that this was some girls' manga that some company was like, I bet this would really hit with the women, so we're going to make it into an anime, and it's not for me.
Kieran, was Happy Sugar Life boring?
No. This is the one that like the whole family watched, and we're just like,
Oh my God, really?
yes.
Oh no.
Like we would all watch like Case Closed together, so it's like a little. Okay, so this show's called Happy Sugar Life, and even from the trailer, you already know that it's a yandere show, and it has it's a misnomer, the Happy Sugar Life, bit of an oxymoron, and I already forget her name. It doesn't matter. Crazy bitch has a kid, and she shows up with the kid. She loves the kid. She might be a pedophile, might not be. She's saying how much she loves her, and they have their wedding vows. And oh, this is what happiness is. They live in an apartment together with like nothing there, just them in this room. And every time she comes home, the kid is just there with a blanket waiting at the door. Yay, you're home. You know, painfully sweet. Painfully, oh, Chio, you got home, yeah? Are you gonna give you a hug, yeah? She's like, oh my God, you're so cute. And it's like, it's whatever, it's fine. They take a bath together. Super kawaii. Little pedophilic, though. A little bit of that. A little creepy. And then we see her working jobs. She works a whole bunch of jobs so she can support her happy sugar life that she wants to have with this child. And then she works a new job at a restaurant. Her manager, shift supervisor, comes over to her because she's so bubbly, she's so cute and anime. Everybody comes up to her and loves her. This new shift supervisor comes up to her and says, "Will you go out with me?" "I'm sorry, I'm giving my love to someone else." He's heartbroken and leaves, and then later on, he sees the shift supervisor going with the manager of the establishment to her office, and they're laughing and seemingly intoxicated. Uh-oh. And then they go back to the house. They hang out. She hangs out with the little kid, and then she goes back to work the next day. And the one dude is nowhere to be seen, so she has to work overtime. So they don't know where the shift supervisor went. So she has to keep working. And she keeps working for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, some long ass time. She's working overtime every shift. And then she's just like, I can do it. I'll be fine. I got to get this money because I'm going to get extra money from this and I'll be able to support her and it's going to be great. So after that, there's a reason I'm telling all these plot details because so and then she works overtime, does all this shit, and then eventually gets to payday, and the shift supervisor is still nowhere to be seen after this long time. Still don't know where he is, and the boss says, "Hey, here's your paycheck," and she has not the correct amount for what she's supposed to be earned. So then eventually, she confronts the boss. "Hey, can I talk to you? This is wrong. This right here, this money, this is not what I work." So then she confronts the boss in her office, says, "Hey, this is my hours. Fix my hours, please." She's like, "I can't do that. I run the ship. You gotta comply with my rules, and I say that you don't get overtime pay despite you worked all that." She's like, "I feel something breaking in me. I feel like I'm gonna snap. I've worked overtime for this bitch, and she hasn't given me my fucking money." So then, eventually, she's all like sweet and bubbly, pans down, and then we get the craziest fucking shit. Her eyes are like these swirling pools of red, and the background's like these weird erratic red and blacks and shit, as she's just talking like, you fucking bitch. I saw you with the ship supervisor. You know it's illegal to be with a minor, right? And she's like, "I didn't fucking do anything." And she gets her to talk, and eventually she just breaks her down consistently, and she's got this crazy red glow in her eyes. And the boss admits, "Yes, you came in here and he loved you. Everyone's supposed to love me. I drugged him and showed him my love, and now he loves me forever." And then you just hear a click, and she was recording the whole thing with her phone. She's like, "Where's my fucking money, bitch?" And then she nods over to the side of a little container, and the boy was indeed drugged and raped and placed in the closet. She opens the door up and says, "Okay, you'll be fine now." And then the boss lady just kind of falls over. "Okay, I'll get you your money." And then she goes back home, and this is where we see the final reveal. There's a locked room with 3 bolts on it, and she undoes everything. And we see a cleaver and blood and body bags and a flashback that she actually broke into this house and murdered the family. And that's the daughter who was sleeping. That's Happy Sugar Life. And we see her friend from school put up a missing sign poster at the very end. Friend of the girl who killed and kidnapped the girl put up a missing poster for the child. And I could not tear my eyes away from the screen this whole time. It is uncomfortable. It's insanity. It's just, there's so much wrong with it. You're just like, holy fuck, they're gonna do that? They're gonna show you that? Can they show that on TV? It's nuts. It is not for everybody. As someone who loves horror and shit like this, I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be terrible. This is the one I was actually the most surprised by. I was captivated this entire time because it's just the delivery of a lot of this is insane. And I was watching it with my family. We're just like, what the fuck just happened? We were entertained. It was fun. It was like, what the fuck? This is nuts.
Is it like a better Higurashi?
I haven't seen Higurashi. I can't tell you.
Oh, Higurashi When They Cry?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that. Huh.
It features kawaii girls who apparently murder, and she hasn't murdered anybody on screen yet, but I can only imagine it's going to come. But, it's not like they're holding this till the end like School Days or anything. You know right away that she is just insane and has this weird bipolarism about her. I don't know how else to put it. It's not for everybody. I think you two would probably hate it.
Sounds like I'd probably hate it
I know
a little
you
bit.
would. You would certainly hate it, but
any other season, I'd say, yeah, that sounds maybe interesting, but probably not the sort of thing I want to watch. This season,
I think because I'm really mad about every other thing I watch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes,
yeah.
kill them all.
Like, did something actually happen? I don't know. That might put it in the top 50%.
Yes. Like, and that's almost the sole reason I wanted to give that, like, I feel like I had to explain exactly what happens this first episode because there's so much shit. And it is so cool what they do at the end. I don't know, man. I really liked it. It's definitely not for everybody, but at least something happened.
Yeah.
That's more than boobs.
Well, let me tell you what happened in Late Night, The Genius Bakabon. In episode 1, a horrible hippopotamus man who is married to a horrible insect woman attempts to update his anime for the times. If you thought Pop Team Epic was too coherent and accessible, have we got a show for you?
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
I'm actually not sure how this... I tried to do some research on this. I'm not sure how this works for the no sequels rule, because this is apparently some kind of a continuation or reboot or something of some much older property.
Yeah, it's like Osomatsu-san.
Yeah, I got that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seemed like something from the 60s or something.
Yeah. They kept on saying 18 years, it's been 18 years since we had an anime. 18 years ago was 2000.
Don't say that.
And this, yeah, right? This does not look like something from the year of our Lord 2000.
Yeah.
Because it starts off very, like, looking like an old, like, 60s ass anime.
Yeah.
And then they progressively update it as it's very meta, very fourth wall breaky. Like, at one point, it starts off in 4x3, and at one point, they actually say, well, this is bullshit. Nothing's 14x3. Help me push. And they get on either side and start pushing the black bars until they're in 16x9. That makes it sound clever and funny. It's not.
No, yeah.
Because I saw that gag coming. This comes like 5 minutes into the episode, and the whole time I'm like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen?
Sounds like a lesser Osomatsu-san, like did the exact same thing.
Yeah. And, we talk about shows like Hinamatsuri being surprisingly, like, adapted to a Western taste. This is not that. This oversells every joke. It telegraphs every joke. Say what you will about Pop Team Epic, but that had a snappiness to it. If you don't like what you're seeing, just wait and something else will happen. This is the same goddamn joke for the whole time. There were occasionally some references that I didn't feel like I was getting, which was my main problem with Pop Team Epic. But that at least very quickly delivered references that I didn't get. This had like 2 of them. And also referenced Masako Nozawa. Only reference makes it sound like it was quick, and it wasn't.
No, it's a whole scene with her.
Yeah, hey, it's Masako Nozawa, famous voice of Goku and several other Masako Nozawa. That's a name that you recognize, right? Because it's Masako Nozawa. And it finally, by the end, gets you to its new, like, supposedly, I guess, the art style that it's actually going to stick with, because it goes back and forth for a while. And apparently that art style is just the shitty, old-fashioned looking old art style, but with thick purple outlines over everything.
Yep.
Like that trailer that we watched that seemed to go on forever. Apparently that is just what the show is.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I hate everything about this. I know I'm saying that a lot, but that's because this is a bad season.
Yep.
This might actually be the worst thing on my list of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of sad that we're not just watching Osomatsu-san. Because Osomatsu-san is actually funny and clever and colorful and
it is.
has a lot of shit going on in it. And
Yeah, there are some shows that I see that it's like I can see that there's something there that I don't get because I'm not plugged into that Japanese culture.
yeah.
I can see that this is probably shit in Japanese as well.
Ooh, damn.
Damn.
This is doing nothing. This is bad, and I hate it. Let's see what Scott's got next. Lord of Vermillion, the Crimson King.
There's nothing good about this. It's bad, and I hate it.
Okay.
This is DS Ire, only worse. It is.
Wow.
It starts off it starts us off at the end of the series, basically during a huge battle with a bunch of characters that we've never seen.
Yeah.
Killing each other off until it decides it wants to throw us back into time, and it's based off a collectible card game, and it is the worst.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. I have nothing to say about this. I do not vote for this. It'll be killed in the first week, and no. It's wow.
Okay.
I can't believe how absolutely bad this is.
Kieran, how'd you feel about How Not to Summon a Demon Lord?
How didn't I feel? I felt a lot of things.
All right.
This is about a gentleman who plays video games late at night. Very relatable. He does nothing but yell obscenities and call people normies. And then he gets sucked. It actually says normies.
Okay.
And then he gets sucked into his video game because he was enslaved. He's the Demon Lord, level 150, the strongest character in his video game.
You said kill yourself.
And he's summoned by two girls, one of them looking young and having cat ears and a tail, and the other one being an elf with very large personalities. And they then get enslaved by him because he can mind control them. So now they have collars. Then they stay at the tavern together, and there's only one room that they can share in, so they have to share a bed.
Ooh, you can't do that without fucking.
You can't do that without...
It's illegal.
It's illegal. You have to. That's why they
Yep.
call it sleeping together.
Yep.
That's right. You have to do it. So later on, you get him just torturing the cat girl, and he tickles her ears.
Ooh.
And he starts kissing her ears.
Ooh.
He just blows on him, and then she's like, "Please stop."
Does he stop?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it is.
Consent is important.
It is. It's just dog shit. Anybody that likes it is dumb and stupid. It's stupid, dumb doo-doo, doo-doo butt. Dumb butt, poo-poo, pee-pee.
Tyler?
I like how I'm hearing this, and you were like, I can't wait to show you this show.
No, because we're going to watch it together.
I can't wait.
No, we're watching at least 5 episodes.
Good.
Yeah,
I will take nothing less.
good.
Well, that sounds a lot like a show that I watched called The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar.
Oh, is that the phone?
Oh.
Complete fealty?
Yes.
Yes.
Complete fealty!
In episode 1, Protag-kun is an ordinary Japanese high school student just like you, but unlike you, he got isekai'd into a Bronze Age culture where access to Wikipedia has allowed him to become a conquering warlord with a harem of anime waifus who all want his dick. This is garbage.
Yep.
It is terrible. It wraps back around. It's so bad it's good.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's what I like to see.
It's generic, terrible garbage. And in this season of terrible garbage, I was actually entertained.
Oh, yes. I love hearing that. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. That has everything to do with the rest of the garbage on this list and nothing to do with this show, but by God, if we
yes.
gotta watch something. So false advertising, though, not all these girls give him complete fealty. There is a partial fealty option.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, there is.
It's the Bronze Age. What else do they have?
So apparently, he is the patriarch of the Wolf Clan, and when he conquers another clan with his armies, because Wikipedia taught him about phalanxes and how to temper iron, which makes his clan the strongest clan in the Bronze Age. When he conquers another clan and their patriarch can swear fealty to him, for some reason, every other patriarch is an anime waifu.
Ah.
They can either become his child, which is the complete fealty, or his younger sister, which is the partial fealty.
You locking it?
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. No.
Also, they have this green glowy magic, which is never explained. Okay, sure.
How does he Wikipedia?
So apparently he can still get a cell signal through this magic mirror thing that they're vague on how exactly he got here. He's been there for 2 years.
Oh.
And they give you like little hints, like main waifu, blonde girl with the biggest boobs, was apparently the one who summoned him there, and he's been looking for a way home.
That's just like the other show.
Yeah, but he can apparently still get a cell signal through the magic mirror and talk on the phone with his actual little sister who's back in the modern era. And apparently he was fortunate enough to bring along a cell phone with a solar charger. So he can still get a charge on his cell phone. He can still access Wikipedia and look up, like, hey, by the way, here's how he figured out some new way of processing grain to make bread, which means his supply lines are better.
But can he watch Netflix?
That I don't know.
This is just trapped in another world with my smartphone. That's exactly what this story is.
But it's not another world. It's our world. A while ago.
Oh, is it the past?
That is his guess. at one point, there's a little mental narration, and he says, "Yeah, the stars, the constellations are the same, so I think this is still Earth. I'm guessing Bronze Age between something like 1600 and 1300 BC." He's narrowed it down that far, which...
And there's magic like there was back then.
I feel like if he could use Wikipedia, he could figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I also don't... Yeah, I don't know. None of it makes sense. It's garbage,
And
but
that's okay.
But it's apparently entertaining garbage.
compared to either of the two shitty fan service sports shows, yes. So, hey, there are better shows on this list. There are.
Okay.
Cells at Work is better than this.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I would take Angels of Death over this. That's 2 shows. We got to watch 10. It sounds like there are better shows on y'all's lists, but if this takes like an 8 or a 9 spot, I'm not going to complain.
Okay.
Scott, tell us about Planet Whith.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So this might be the most exciting one on the list for me.
Okay.
Yay.
Because you know what feelings that this gave me? This and this might seem like a negative, but it's really not, because I am now a full-grown adult. I have gotten past a lot of what the more bullshit, visually focused anime. God, how do I put this? This reminds me of Fooly Cooly, but in all of the good ways, because it is quirky, well animated, colorful, neat characters. It's got great animation. Like its weirdness is very upfront too, and it's hard for me to explain. I don't want to go beat for beat like I did with some of the other shows, but it's just got these really great moments of subtle character stuff here and there. All the characters are just they're not fully people, but their reactions to a lot of this stuff, it comes off very human. It's weird. I don't know how to. It's hard because I don't want to go through this beat by beat because it's gonna sound really boring, and it's not. It's all about this kid with amnesia who ends up in a family with this weird anime mascot girl and an anime mascot cat with weird teeth and mouth, and it's. Every single scene has this little tint of weirdness and oddness to it. There's this girl whose name is Tanagabaraka or something. It's literally all the Oz. If you go down the
Tanagabaraka, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tanagabaraka, and it's so weird. And then that's not even including, like, so these aliens attack, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the alien ship that comes down is one of those Japanese toys, like those long cylindrical things with the head on top. I don't know what they're called, but it ends up attacking and shoots tiny ones all over to attack its enemies. But they've got this weird mind, like this weird attack that they can use, where there's these 3 jets, right, who go out to attack the aliens. They fire at it, and the missiles turn into cotton.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
And so it uses this bright flash, and you think they've blown up the jets, but really, one of the pilots ends up standing in a park full of cherry blossoms with his wife, and he sits down with her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad we were able to find a doctor that could help us. Now we can live as a family, just the 3 of us." And then you see this kid, playing around off, like in front of them, and he's emotional. He's taken aback, and he doesn't know what's going on. And then we get, it flashes back to him in the jet, and they're like, "Hey, you haven't been responding for 5 minutes. Are you okay?" And he's like, "I need to go home," and then flies off in the opposite direction.
Ooh, interesting.
And you're like, wait a second, was this some psychological warfare shit on the behalf of these aliens? And it's this really kind of somber scene. And then, that's when the Protectors of Earth show up. This team of 7 motherfuckers who all pilot... Okay, so who has played Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically pilot 20 feet tall mini versions of the 4 machines.
Guardian.
Yeah, the 4 Guardians. only a bunch of different animals. I think they're all zodiac based.
Oh,
and so
okay.
they all go off and they all attack this alien spacecraft. And then the leader gets put into the same situation. And he was a firefighter who lost his mother. But in this version of it, a firefighter stops him as a child, and it's him, and he goes in and he saves his mother, and he brings his mother out. But he realizes, this is all fake. This is all fake. I have to break out of this. And he ends up breaking out of it, and he ends up beating the alien, and it's actually kind of compelling. And it's amazing, because it's the first episode. You've never met this guy. You've never seen his past. And in 5 minutes, it sells you who this guy is, what his past was, what his motivation was. And it's so good. And then we find out that the main character, who's this little kid who you only see a little bit of, and he's kind of this little asshole, and he's amnesic, and we find out that his job is to now beat all 7 of these members with his giant cat robot,
Ooh,
and I love it.
that sounds awesome.
It's so weird and quirky, but they sell it. It's not confusing. It's what do you call it when you see more? It's engaging. It's intriguing. It's intriguing. I'm intrigued. And it does this all so well because it gives you just enough to explain, okay, I know what's happening, but you don't know why.
Gotcha.
So it's like,
that's fun.
Okay, you got me. I'm so curious. This is the only show. This may be the only show. Okay, besides me, I think the next one where I was like, I have to see more. I have to know what the fuck is going on.
Kieran, what the fuck is going on in Music Girls?
Forgot I watched that. Okay.
Oh yeah, what is Music Girls about?
It's the Idol show.
No.
Okay, so there's no, Tyler. You won't like it. I'm telling you. Okay, so my friend in Japan, he's probably loving it right now. He's probably getting 5 body pillows. So there's a German girl and she has a doll. She shows up. Hi, at the airport, there happens to be one recruiting manager. We're looking for one member of our idol group. We're putting on a concert right now. We need someone right now. I love idols. I want to be an idol. So the German girl joins the idol group and is just instantly perfect. She got every move down. She got everything. And she just gels with the whole crew. And they're like, amazing. You're going to complete our group. And the joke is that she can't sing. Haha, really funny. The end.
Oh.
No. You think it's intriguing, it's not.
No, I'm not. I don't think it's intriguing. I'm just like.
There are approximately 11 girls, 12. I couldn't tell you anything about them. They were all shat from a factory. It feels like I turned to my girlfriend and I said, "Is this propaganda?" Because King Record is putting it out. The people that exactly. So they're like, I wanted to be with you because I share your dream of music. And we have a song in our hearts. Let's sing that song. And it's the most cheese bullshit. Nobody's smoking. Nobody's drunken backstage. Nobody's like, oh my God, look at these creeps. And all the people in the audience are like these really grotesque looking otaku dudes. So at least it's a little realistic. But it's boring. It's stupid. It's dumb. And if you like idol shit, Love Live is so much better.
Guys, we've only got one more apiece.
Yes!
Thank God.
Phantom in the Twilight. In episode 1, Tone, a perfectly ordinary high school student who apparently knows magic for some reason, moves to London and meets a vampire, a werewolf, and a guy with a bowl cut and a minigun. They fight some goblins, and then Vampy Boy erases her memory for some reason. It's one audience insert character hangs out with 3 supernatural pretty boys, the show.
Okay.
Got
it.
I think that Twilight in its name might be a little too on the nose.
Yeah. I told my girlfriend about this, and she said, okay, if it's more Phantom of the Opera than Twilight, then maybe it's more Twilight than Phantom of the Opera, okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah, look, I know there's an audience for this stuff. It seems like a perfectly straightforward, acceptable example of the sort of thing it is. I dated a girl for 9 years who was into this sort of thing. I've seen more of it than I want to. Please don't vote for this. Don't like it, don't need it, don't want it in my life. Scott, your final show is Revue Starlight.
Okay, so Revue Starlight is all about the main character from A Place Within the Universe. Decided that after she's gone to Antarctica, she wants to be a dancer. She shares a room with a shy version of Tomoya from Cardcaptor Sakura, who really, really, really wants to bang the main character. Unfortunately, our main character has the hots for Homura from Madoka Magica. There are also a bunch of other classmates who we're getting to learn and meet, including a girl with glasses who has a flair for the dramatic, and I'm kind of really into her. And the whole story is just, they all want to be stage actors and dancers and performers. And this is a school that is like one of the best in Japan at producing some of the best female performers. And it's all female, all women. And the premise of the show is that last year they put on a production of Starlight. And this year they're going to do it again because they had so much fun with the first one, but they could tell we really weren't good for that. We were all amateurs. We're going to put on the best version of Starlight this school has ever seen. Until halfway through the episode. And then shit goes crazy. I don't want to spoil what happens halfway through this episode because the scene we see after you'll know the moment shit goes different. Cause this show decides that it wants to have this neat, wholesome, beautifully animated, but very, very slice of life premise, and then it just wants to go nuts. When you see it happen, you'll know exactly you'll know the moment, and it's the most beautifully animated thing that we at FMK have ever seen.
Strong words.
Yeah. Besides maybe some of the movies that we've seen, and even then, it rivals that. And again, I don't want to spoil what happens because trust me, when you see it, you're just going to sit there slack-jawed at what is on display. Also, there's a talking giraffe.
All right.
And
okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I feel like I was watching one of those really, really, really enraging commercials that they have in Japan, where it's this really beautiful, a beautifully animated scene. Like, oh my god, what show/movie is this? It's for ramen.
Yeah,
it's for ramen. It's a ramen commercial, but no, and it. I don't know what happened exactly. I don't exactly know what this whole scene plays through.
That's fine.
I mean, it's called The Audition.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to give you. And I pray that this it might be. But let me tell you what. I really want to see the second episode of this.
Okay.
Because it's not the half of the episode. It's really the last third. If I can get this, even every other episode, I will watch all of this show.
Okay. Nice.
Kieran, tell us about the final show we're discussing here today, Yuuna and the Haunted Hot Springs.
So
I saw this with you too.
Mm-hmm. You did. Mm-hmm. You just gave this big impassioned speech about the beauty of animation and how it can make you motivate you and move you and make you feel things. This makes you feel things, but not with your brain or with any part other than your penis, because this is Love Hina, but they're like ghost girls and demon girls, and it might be one of the most telegraphed, boring, stupid, dumb, bad, awful things I've ever seen.
Yep.
But I laughed a few times, and I didn't with other shows.
Hey, what other show on this list are going to get ghost boobs?
There's ghost boobs, there's drunk boobs, there's cat boobs.
There's ninja boobs.
There's ninja boobs. There's underage boobs.
There's look, you can get underage boobs lots of places on this list.
So sad. I'm so done with underage boobs.
And it's just Love Hina, but the guy is a psychic and he can punch ghosts, but he doesn't want to punch the girl ghost because she's hot.
I didn't. I thought the show should just be. I didn't know ghosts can have boobs.
I can't believe that they've never run into a girl ghost before.
I know, right?
All the hot girls are dead.
He's he's the ghost. He's. Why isn't this show called Ghost Puncher?
Well, guys, it's come to that time where we write down our locks and put them in a sealed envelope.
Oh, okay.
Make sure to write down your name on the front of that envelope. So we do a little prisoner's dilemma here where you don't know what our locks are, but we don't know what you're going to vote for. So we're all in the same boat together. Guys, my lock is cells at work.
Ben, do you have one of those for me?
I do.
Guys, mine's Revue Starlight. I think that should be obvious. Like, but
Now, it's still on the poll, so if I'm lying, I don't know. How much do you trust me?
As far as I can throw you. Maybe like 2 feet. Maybe. Mine's gonna be the Enigma.
I am very curious what yours is. Although I think I know.
Well, we'll find out later this week. I'm thinking Thursday. Yeah, this will go up on Wednesday. We'll give those YouTube folks a chance to get their votes in.
Did you like Periscope it or anything? Is there a place they can see it, or are you just gonna flop it out?
Yeah, I'll probably Periscope it like I did last time.
Gotcha.
And there'll be we'll put it out on Twitter, so if you didn't happen to be watching at that exact second, you can still know. We also link to the weekly watch list on the Discord, discord.gg/Team4Star. Head down to the Anime FMK channel, and they'll help you out from there. Take it easy, you guys. Have fun watching all this garbage with us.
Have mercy,
Yep.
please.
Be kind.
Rewind.
I wish I could rewind through most of the stuff on this list. See you next time, guys.